please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mrs. Alpert,
Present.
Mr. Hanley,
Present.
Mrs. Schumacher Cohen,
Present.
Ms. Cruz.
Present. Executive session.
We discussed all the issues on outstanding litigation, potential litigation, and I will continue to advise the board in those cases.
Thank you, Attorney Doherty. Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held on January 6, 2025, and approval of the minutes of the special meeting held on January 13th, 2025.
Can I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Mrs. Alpert,
Yes.
Mr. Hanley,
Yes.
Mrs. Schumacher Cohen,
Yes.
Ms. Cruz.
Yes.
Thank you.
Treasurer's report for the period January 1st, 2025 to January 29th, 2025.
Second here, folks. Okay, so the report, the treasurer's report is as of January 29th, 2025. The balance in the checking accounts and money market accounts are $833,117.92. Investments made in certificates of deposit amounted to $8,376,689.15. Petty cash and magistrate funds total $11,400 for a grand total of $221,207.07. Paid bills from January 1st, 2025 to January 9th, 2025 were forwarded to all the members. I would just like to follow this up by, we just had a discussion previously, and going forward, beginning next month, we will have a budget for each one of the amps, as well as Park Gardens, and the actual expenses to date, so we'll have a more of a holistic view of the finances of the Housing Authority moving forward, beginning next month. Can I have a motion for approval of the treasurer's report?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Alpert,
Yes.
Mr. Hanley,
Yes.
Mrs. Schumacher Cohen, Ms. Cruz.
Yes. Secretary's report, communications to the board.
So we have a letter of intent to purchase Park Gardens that was sent to us, and then we'll also indicate that there was a response to this letter. Mr. Lynott, you'll do that after I read it into the record?
Correct.
Okay. Honorable Housing Authority members, it has come to the attention of a client of mine that based on recent reporting, the SHA is running nearly a $400,000 annual deficit and may consider selling Park Gardens. Below is an outline of a formal offer they have instructed me to submit on their behalf. Price was $10.5 million, closing on or before 90 days from signing of official agreement of sale, contingency 15-day due diligence period. This sale would not only solve the SHA's budgetary shortfalls, but would add this complex to the tax rolls, growing the tax base in the county. Additionally, I've copied all taxing bodies as well as to this letter, proof of funds available on request. I look forward to hearing from you. This came from Pat Rogan at the Hub Real Estate Group.
Thank you. As indicated at previous meetings, Park Gardens is not for sale. Thank you.
Thank you. We now welcome public comment. Per Housing Authority policy, each person is allocated 5 minutes, and we just ask that you speak with decorum. I was not given a sign-in sheet tonight, so I don't
It's
know.
only 2 gentlemen, but,
Okay, so who
or
is,
3, I'm sorry, there's a woman also.
who is first on the list?
Hi,
State your name.
I'm Erlene Brathwaite. I'm a resident of Hilltop Manor.
Can you
Oh, I'm sorry.
speak in
Can
the
you
mic?
speak at the mic?
My name is Erlene Brathwaite. I'm a resident of Hilltop Manor. Thank you. I'm good. I'm a resident of Hilltop Manor. On December 6th, I reported to the Hilltop office that I have bed bugs in my apartment. On to today, no one came. A week later from December 6th The maintenance manager and the exterminator came to my apartment and verified that there was bed bug. Bringing back from 2024, November 3rd, when I came here with my concerns with roaches, bed bugs, multiple times per year, Carl would rebuttal that. It's men have a video and it's just one dead roach. Today I have my video with bed bugs in my ceiling, on my wall, roaches on my wall, roaches on my food while I'm cooking. I have the video here today. You know, and also I asked, why was my speech denied from the manager Coretta when I asked to make an appointment to see the executive manager 3 times, not knowing they had a public meeting? I have my video here. I want to know, why am I treated this way? Is it because I'm poor? Is it because I'm black? Is it because I have an accent and I have relatives in New York? Why? I would like to be treated like the people at Park Gardens and others. Thank you. And Ms. Chairman, you never said anything to me with my concern. All Carl was doing all the talking. You never said
No,
anything.
so 2 months ago, when you came to speak, you said that you had an issue with rodent infestation, and Mr. Lynette, you said that you were going to send Housing Authority maintenance to that, and that. if
I
you'd like
have
to-
my video here.
That's correct.
And I will view that
Can
after the meeting.
someone see it?
I will. You could come forward.
4 small videos.
Sure.
I know Carl always rebuttal with my men have a video and there's nothing. Why? I just need help. I come here for help. I went to the office for help. They deny me to see the executive manager. I'm human. Look at the bug. Let
Yeah,
me
no.
show you this one here. This is the bed bug.
No, it's clear there that there is.
I'm showing you. I'm cooking.
Board members, this is just to let you see
cooking.
I'm cooking and the roach. Here I'm cooking the roaches on my food. You know, but the
Show
man didn't see any
everybody.
roach, only a
There's
dead
definitely a
roach.
Yeah.
bug there.
Look at this. Even
Come
under
on.
the towel. Look
I'm
at
not
this.
gonna come
That's
here
my
and
food.
lie. I have a plunger. If my
I
toilet
have no reason to
plug up, I
complain
would
or lie
plug.
on
I
the
don't call the
workers
maintainer.
or what's going on in my
I have a
apartment.
blower,
All
blow
I'm
wrong
seeking
what
is
happened.
help. Thank you.
Yeah, there's
Thank-
clearly, Mr. Lana, is there a process that is followed when there is clearly,
Now, is
an
that
issue-
video since the last meeting?
When,
It's after the last meeting.
So you're infested again? Is that what you're saying? This is
There
new?
are always roaches. It's always infested. Why is as the old building infested and there's an exterminator on board? I don't
Now,
know.
again, just so we're clear, after the last meeting, we sent up the maintenance superintendent and the representative from Orkin.
There.
They went through your cupboards, your bedroom, your bathroom, kitchen. They saw no evidence of any infestation whatsoever. So is that new since that?
Yes, here I said you would rebuttal that there is no, so this is evidence.
I'm not
that-
rebutting, I'm just reporting what they
No,
told me,
no,
but
no, I'm
I will
telling
send them
you.
again tomorrow morning, first thing.
No, I'm just saying, the video, I said you would rebuttal, so this says is after that.
Okay,
It was after that.
I'll send them up first thing.
And maybe, Carl, we need not only one treatment, but a follow-up treatment. I mean, sometimes it takes multiple treatments to
And
get
it's
rid
a
of it.
building.
Oh, he'll treat it if it's
Yeah.
existent, but
and then.
they
you know,
didn't treat
if
it the last time because they didn't find anything.
You know, like if she had an issue in the fall and then our team went to go inspect and it wasn't there, you know, maybe it's coming from, maybe like the units on each side of her should also be looked at too, because
We'll have her.
these things travel.
Are you home in the morning?
Yes, I am.
Okay, they'll be up first thing.
Thank you, Ms. Arlene. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak for public comment?
Hi, my name's Rick Little. I lived for 14 and a half years at Adams High Rise down the street. First, I'd like to get the minutes from the, okay.
We got them for you.
I'd just like to comment about the last woman who spoke, you know, because in my lease, you shall comply with all pest control. And that's how I got evicted. I got rid of my pests with an ultraviolet C light. I discovered in the 14 and a half years that this whole bug thing is bug wrangling because they, you know, Orkin is the vendor, the company, and I've had experiences where they're telling me, get out of my apartment, and it's just abusive. Because they spray one apartment and then they, you know, different bugs do different things, but the chemicals they use actually end up attracting bugs. It's not a solution. I see it as a device to move people around. I'm wondering, the thing I was wondering about is when you go to recertify, they always ask you if you have food stamps. And then they go, oh, well, we're not going to count that. But why is it that they always ask if you're getting food stamps? What does that have to do with a recertification thing? Because I'm in a problem now where I'm dealing with the state building, which is actually the municipal or county building, God knows what, but you know, they took my food stamps away, which is very difficult when you're homeless. You know, you spend all your money on that, and then I haven't had food, and it turns out that my food stamps was put on. I don't know if it was put on in Harrisburg or if it was put on in the county. I just don't understand the chain of command of how it's working. You know, and they're directing me to go to the Scranton Police Department in order to, as a remedy, you know, and they have no detective fraud division there. You know, I go, why didn't you call the Attorney General, the Inspector General? And it's just like making people run around, filling out forms, doing stuff. And that seems to be the modus operandi of the whole area. I was wondering about this sign, because this is like a similar thing. A few years ago, I'm saying, and this has to do with notice requirements in my lease before they can break into my room. You know, and people are breaking in my room all the time. You know, I go to the manager when I first got there, you know, asking about renter's insurance. So, no, you know, I couldn't get anything, but they flooded my apartment twice. The bug wrangling thing goes on. But I'm really wondering about this arsons thing. I guess I should... you know, it says, arsons at Adams High Rise. Anyone who has information regarding the person responsible for setting fires at Adams High Rise apartment is urged to contact police as soon as possible. Please leave a message for Inspector Martin Monahan. Your call will remain anonymous. I mean, I don't understand. I had no fires on my floor. The fires were like 4 floors up. It really was water damage was the real problem. A problem tenant above me who flooded my apartment. And, you know, it took a month to fix, but it destroyed $3,000 worth of family court transcripts, which took my child away. And, you know, everything's okay because you call the maintenance and you fix it. and my stuff was taken out of my storage unit when I was living there. Put away for 2.5 years. My time's up? Okay.
Is there any, oh, no, thank you. Is there anybody else here for public comment?
Can I leave the,
Oh, by all means, yes.
What?
Yeah, by all means, yes, you may. Mrs. McLean, could you ensure that last month's, or the last 2 meeting minutes are sent to City Council ahead of their meeting tomorrow? Okay. Okay, thank you. And then I don't think you're planning to speak, but I wanted to acknowledge Mr. Gerald Smurl, President of City Council, for being here tonight. Thank you for being here. Committee report, chairperson report. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone who is here tonight, people who spoke, people who were here just in attendance. Secondly, I wanted to apologize for failing to do this at the end of last week's meeting. I wanted to thank Mr. Vincent Alou, Director of Capital Improvements, for his technical assistance and support with last meeting's PowerPoint presentation. His contribution was invaluable to me and to all of us in putting that presentation forward, as well as Misters Lynott, Capelloni, and Lombardi in providing the information and data presented. Since that meeting, myself and other commissioners have been contacted by residents asking for rental assistance options, and I've sent forward information. Mr. Lina, if you haven't already, could you compile like a list of organizations, local and statewide, that residents can contact to receive or to get information about rental assistance?
Yes, I will.
And send it as like a memorandum to each unit, please. And myself and my other commissioners have been getting questions from the public, people who are raising concerns about some of the things presented at last week's meeting, concerning a breakdown of the Park Gardens budget, asking questions about the origins of the now suspended newsletter, as well as even the 3 executives' salaries, which are public knowledge. So I've learned even before last week or 2 weeks ago meeting, and since then, that a lot of people are really interested and invested in the housing authority, even though it previously didn't seem that way. But they are really wanting committed and wanting to see a commitment from the individuals here and continuing to provide safe, affordable housing for the citizens of Scranton, which is why we are committed to ensuring the solvency of Park Gardens, why we're not selling it, as well as our Section 8 housing, our scattered sites, and our developments, which is why I'm very thankful that Ms. Arlene came tonight to discuss her issue. And so that's why on the table tonight, we will be voting on a motion to hire a consultant to look at the operations and the finances of the housing authority holistically, to see what else needs to be done going forward with this organization to continue to move it to a place of greater solvency, transparency, and so I thank everybody for their interest and their advice, and to continue, if they have any other advice or information, for us to continue reaching out to us. Our emails are on the website, as well as the 3 executives' emails and phone numbers. So thank you. Executive Director report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the delinquencies, first at Park Gardens, we have 162 occupied units out of 166. The other 4 are being prepared for occupancy, and the Scranton Housing Authority is currently creating a new application process for Park Gardens. With that, also, there is 1 delinquent, and I believe they're currently under eviction, and it's roughly $2,500 owed. With regards to public housing, for the month of January, there are 334 delinquents for a total of $286,641.55, as opposed to December's of 346 units, $268,136.30, and November's was 337 delinquent accounts for a total of $244,218.83. With regards to the utilities for January, there's a total of $336,996.51, as opposed to December, which was $303,920.91. Finally, the construction report. Renovations at buildings 13 and 14, all work at the construction projects has been complete, waiting on final punch list to be completed. Site work as of Thursday, December 19, 2024, SHA Architect and KR Construction Group agreed to temporarily suspend the remaining site work due to winter conditions. This pause ensures that all remaining work can be completed to the highest standard once favorable conditions return in the spring. Building 12 renovations. The contracts have been awarded to contractors. Pre-construction meeting is set for February 5th, 2025 at 11 a.m. With regards to the new security cameras being installed, HIG has all the permits and has started work on installing cameras at Jackson Terrace. The work is ongoing. Also, Riverside, HIG has all permits and started work on the installing of cameras at Riverside Apartments. Work is still ongoing. Finally, apartment report. We have the dates January 1, 2025 to January 30th, 2025. Under the public housing program, we have an ACC of 1,214 units with 1,174 units under effective lease. There are 40 vacant apartments in which 27 vacant units are under modernization, vacant approved by HUD. Under our Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program, we have an ACC of 1,050 units with 744 units under effective lease. Total apartments under effective lease by the Scranton Housing Authority as of January 2025 are 1,918 out of an ACC of 2,264, Madam Chair. That concludes the Executive Director report.
Other ones addressed to the executive session.
And then, did you put your apartment report into your executive?
I think I just did that. I'm
Okay.
apologizing.
Okay. No, that's
And the
totally-
Park Gardens report as well.
That's totally fine.
I
Board-
jumped it.
That's okay. Board comments? Would any of my colleagues like to have anything to say in terms of what we have discussed or what we will be voting on?
I would just echo much of what you just said, and thank you, Chairman Cruz, Chairwoman Cruz, for all the great work you've been doing over the last few weeks and trying to pull a lot of this together. And hopefully, as we move forward, there'll be more confidence from the public on what is actually happening here at the Scranton Housing Authority as we become more and more transparent.
I would just add also that I'm appreciative that we're going to be doing this evaluation to get a consultant in. I think we've received a lot of feedback in the last meeting that there, as Chairwoman Cruz has said, that there's interest in transparency and also looking at best practices, just getting ideas from other communities. And I would also like to, I know we have a Residents Advisory Board. I haven't attended one of those. Maybe I will join that if that's appropriate at some time, but I would like us to have a public engagement process as part of our evaluation to get feedback, further feedback from the public.
Okay. Unfinished business?
No unfinished business,
No
ma'am.
unfinished business. Okay, new business.
Yes.
Resolution number 25-6, amending the procurement policy of the Scranton Housing Authority to increase the threshold amount for small purchases from $23,200 to $23,800.
Yes, Madam Chair. Resolution 25-6, amending the procurement policy of the Scranton Housing Authority to increase the threshold amount for small purchases from $23,200 to $23,800. Whereas the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development requires that every public housing authority establish a procurement policy to ensure that any expenditure of public monies is conducted pursuant to 24 CFR 85.36, as well as the applicable procurement statutes of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And whereas the Scranton Housing Authority has reviewed its existing policy and has deemed necessary to amend the procurement policy in order to be consistent with 24 CFR 85.36 and applicable procurement statutes of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and whereas the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania has recently changed the law to increase the threshold amount for small purchases to $23,200 so that advertisements and sealed bids are only required for contracts expected to exceed $23,800. And whereas the current procurement policy references the threshold amount for small purchases on pages 3, 4, 9, 11, 13, and 14. And now, therefore, be it resolved this third day of February 2025, the Scranton Housing Authority Board of Commissioners hereby amend the procurement policy, specifically pages 3, 4, 9, 11, 13, and 14, to increase the threshold amount required for small purchases from $23,200 to $23,800. May I have a motion?
Second.
Mrs. Alpert?
Yes.
Mr. Hanley?
Yes.
Mrs. Schumacher Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, proposals for engineering services, self-managed EPC.
The engineering services proposal for self-managed EPC, it's my recommendation that the Group 14 Engineering Group, which was the only submission, if I'm correct, scored a 92, and they have managed several of our other EPCs. They were evaluated by Mr. Capoloni as well as Martin Flynn and Michael Morrison, and they recommend that the EPC engineering services, self-managed EPC proposal for engineering services be awarded to the Group 14 Engineering Group. Can I have a motion?
Second.
Mrs. Alpert,
Yes.
Mr. Hanley,
Yes.
Mrs. Schumacher Cohen,
Yes.
Ms. Cruz.
Yes.
Okay.
And C, evaluation for a consultant to review the organizational structure and operation of the Scranton Housing Authority.
May I have a motion?
So moved?
Second.
Mrs. Alpert,
Yes.
Mr. Hanley,
Yes.
Mrs. Schumacher Cohen,
Yes.
and Ms. Cruz.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Personnel, acceptance of the retirement of Jim Kobrinik, acceptance of the retirement of Mr. Michael T. May, and acceptance of the resignation of Mr. McIntyre.
Motion?
So, I make
So
the move,
moved.
so moved?
Second.
Mrs. Alpert,
Yes.
Mr. Hanley,
Yes.
Ms. Schumacher Cohen,
Yes.
Ms. Cruz.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I'll make a,
Just before we adjourn, Carl, if you can explain, when you were doing your apartments report on Section 8, we have so many Section 8 units, and then we have so many under lease, and there's a huge discrepancy there. I think for the purpose of the public, if you could explain why there is that difference, it looks like we have 250 empty
Correct.
Section 8 vouchers.
Yes.
So-
We're funded at a level that does not meet the maximum that they've designated over the years, the 1,050. We're funded at approximately 750 to 775, and it's currently 744. But that money is not there to provide additional vouchers, and that's a national issue. It's not a Scranton housing issue. And HUD has indicated to us for the foreseeable future in 2025 that it will not be increasing the subsidy for that. So we're going to be in that neighborhood. We're not withholding voucher or voucher money by any means, but it's,
Wanted to clarify that.
yes, sir, yes, sir. Motion to adjourn?
so moved?
Second?
That's a wrap.